Greetings everyone, and Grade here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay. So on the south side as the Orange Star Von Bolt, we got DM11. So on the north side as a Purple Lightning Sturm, we got achesst. Wonder how this will go. Have I ever even cast a Sturm replay before? May have once before. I don't cast Sturm all too often because he's usually a top tier. Mostly I think because of the high mobility. But of course, he also has less firepower, more defense, counterpart being increased attack firepower and defense. So Sturm is going to have trouble to put the holes into Von Bolt, honestly. Sturm's superpower, I think, has higher potential than Meteor Strike. I think the superpower and power, I know he has a custom power in by Web. I think it should be, Meteor Strike should be the regular name, and Meteor Strike should be Meteor Strike Beta. I can't think of a Sturm match we've done. True, yeah, because he's usually top tier is usually banned. That's why you don't see too much Combi or let's see, or Hachi Sensei. I can't remember all the top tier. Got double recon by Sturm. Oh yeah, the perfect movement. I always think perfect movement. If Lash's power was cheaper, she would be excellent recon CO. But Sturm, since he has perfect movement, his recons will be agile. You have 8 movement, you can use 8 movement. Tank here as well. And this is Fog's War as well, so even though his recons will be weaker, agility is something massive. He will have... the lack of firepower, though. I would assume it would be equal, but no, he lost that fight. Tank infantry and more infantry. There's also a air from the back line. Comm tower there as well. Sturm should have rushed on the comm tower a bit quicker, because the extra firepower is something he does actually sort of need. Recons are going to be excellent, or in the fact that they're also not excellent because of lack of firepower. He is starting to interrupt some of these captures, and fully stops that one. I hope does go and boost on the Black Boat. I love the some of the reboot camps CO themes. I think Sturm is definitely one of the better ones, but I think the best remake is probably Adder's power and superpower theme. In my opinion, that might be the best of the remakes. What do you all think? What do you consider the best remake of CO themes? I think it's debatable between Sturm and Adder. Granted, Adder's day-to-day is pretty normal, but his power and superpower is excellent, I would say. Good raids there. Of course, it only needs to follow up a shot there, since it can only stops by 1 turn rather than by 2. Got multiple recons there. Got a tank here as well. Got a number of tanks and of course artillery as well. Good strike on the recon, of course. Of course, I can always fall back, stick to a force, and continue to be a recon. Let's get some damage there. Luckily, Sturm does have additional defense, even though at 2 health, his defense would be effectively plus 4% defense. Tank, infantry. Tank does strike tank. And what should we finish off there? This Von Bolt tank should be in range of Sturm's tank. Recon does strike down south. Recon strikes infantry. Does stop that unit there. This capture will be interrupted. Tank, artillery, infantry. Does pull back the 1 health recon to be a recon unit. We need to listen again, but I still honestly prefer all the old tracks. I do agree some of the new tracks are a bit misses. Some are good. Yeah, I think Sturm's power is pretty good remix, but his day-to-day theme, not as great. Tank, infantry, A-tier. I think achesst got a pretty good remix overall. But for Orange Star in general, it feels like most of their themes are side grades. Hard to say. I think it's a mixed bag, which is to be expected, honestly, when it comes to remixes. After all, Sturm or Hawk's day-to-day theme, and I don't know if it's like that in the new version for Reboot Camp. His old theme uses steel drums, the most menacing steel drums you ever hear. Because most of the time, that's just happy Hawaiian music or Caribbean, any other island nation, an island. To include North Sentinel Island. Got a couple, get a good strike on that tank there. Anti-air is a little bit far away by about 1 turn. And overall, Von Bolt has a pretty good contingent infantry up north. They both have 25 military in the field. At this exact moment, they both have 62,900, 62,900. And of course, deploys out his day-to-day income there, so it's no longer equal. 18,000, so Sturm does have income advantage opposed to 14. Anti-air Patrol 4 does interrupt the capture there. 10 capture progress remaining. Anti-air recon. A lot of recons there once again by Sturm. It's the infantry there and should be able to get out there. Good hits there. Does take the 1 health recon, trying to capture the despicable neutral properties. Sturm still has a 4,000 income advantage, but their deployment in the field is still pretty even. Hawk's turn. Not Hawk, Sturm's. Looks like this guy did get struck by a decent amount of artillery. Does take out the tank there. Sturm's making some gains. You can move this artillery from the beach to the forest to be struck by the tank. Excellent placement that would be. Heading down south is one artillery, and we're just rely on the fact that it's artillery in the forest to keep that safe. After all, you need a park unit right next to a spot to it. Besides the fall back of the region, good idea. Does have vision of this artillery. Does strike there. Sturm has meteor strike 1. I heard it's actually decent. It may not seem like much, but it's a 3 damage meteor rather than a 8 health damage meteor, which can be situationally good, though it's far more cost effective to go for the full superpower, of course. But if you see a nice cluster of units, you could drop it and try to finish them off. And not to mention as well, now his opponent has to constantly have to be worried about meteor strike. This power, I think, is not necessarily the fact that he can deploy a weaker meteorite earlier on is his main strength. But I think the biggest strength is now, if your opponent doesn't constantly have to worry about a meteor from falling from the sky, has to constantly worry about keeping stuff too dense, then he can drop it. I think it's the biggest part about his power is not necessarily the effectiveness, it's the looming threat. Because now he has to be smart how he ends his turn. Granted, he can rely on Fog of War, but still. Infantry tank. Of course, Sturm has to be careful about Ex Machina. Sturm's meteor in Advanced Wars by Web still follows up 3 patterns of the meteors: the HP, the value, or the indirect. While Von Bolt always strike value. And if I remember correctly as well, Sturm's meteor has to target a unit and then spread out from there, while Von Bolt's superpower can strike an empty tile and spread out from there, if I remember correctly. assuming that's also the same as the cartridge counterpart. That's from a Meng's video back when he was talking about Sturm's meteor, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since last seen that video. I think it probably came out like 3 years ago, either way. Tank infantry. And it looks like Sturm is saving up his power and superpower. You can always go try for 1-2 punch from Meteor Strike. I'm not sure how effective that would be. Battlecopter, tank, recon, infantry. Does get some good strikes there. Does get a hit there. Meteor can be summoned. I wonder if he's going for the Ex Machina. Ex Machina will highly likely strike over here. So it could strike here. That's quite a bit of value there. Tank, recon. It's hard to say where the meteor strike because HP would definitely land here. Value would likely strike around here as well. Indirect will go for the highest value where indirects are double value, which so indirect and value will both strike the same spot since there's no directs on the field for Von Bolt. So let's see where this lands. It does go and strike right there. Strikes this infantry unit directly, so this entire group is at 2 health. Yeah, it's 2 health, so easily gets picked off. This tank it should be 2 health as well. This infantry is at full health. So Sturm's making some great advance down south. He broke that wall entirely. Apparently dropping a meteorite on a bunch of infantry units' heads is a great way to break a wall. Recon tank, battlecopter recon. Ex Machina will very likely strike over here, though I do see... No, it will likely strike right here. Oh, struck right here. So this tank's also locked down. So Von Bolt has a double turn effectively up north. He can quickly go and he picks off the unweighted units, allowing the weighted units to be picked off the next turn, which is a good idea. You only have to have this tank recon and potentially this battlecopter to stop to advance down south. Recon does strike the infantry there. Trying to form a battle line. Tank. And infantry. Right now, Sturm has a 97 value in the field. Von Bolt has 94, so it looks like Sturm is ahead because he sells his day-to-day. And income's also ahead by 6,000, so Sturm is doing quite well. If he's trying to gun down, he's able to sprint across the mountains. This is the more powerful part of Sturm. It's the ability to sprint. Perfect movement is excellent. T-copter, infantry, tank. So he wants to try to push the infantry unit down south to start capturing some properties, maybe leftwards. Anti-air tank infantry. Both are 103,000 on the field. Of course, Sturm has his day-to-day, so Sturm's ahead by about a turn. And his artillery in good positions there to shell across the mountains. One of the few times where I say a rocket would be good. And thinking, like I said beforehand, perfect movement. His rockets are actually going to get to the front line, so Sturm can be decent CO for rockets. Or on the fact that they lack 20% firepower, that's a bit of a problem there. Pulls back some infantry units there, rotates them around. Tank strikes tank. Both players, of course, have 2 column towers, neither of them being threatened at the moment. Tank, infantry, battle copter. Recon will spot the artillery. Which one of these tanks will head to the artillery? Good hits there, but he's in range of the artillery, but Sturm did take some pretty big hits there. Some of these things starting to get hit. Does lose his battlecopter there. Sturm has another battlecopter here. Though aircraft already are affected by perfect movement, so not likely they can go any faster. We do have a meteor strike too. I'm not sure it's going to be useful right now. Anti-air tank mech. Looks like Von Bolt's gonna head up north. Infantry units are getting hit and broken. Those lose another anti-air there. Von Bolt's just tank spam. It's just being very effective. We do have a battle copter by Sturm right here. Of course, we do have an anti-air by Von Bolt. Battlecopter does get struck. Sturm's turn. Infantry unit there and there. Lots of good picks there. Just being an anti-air and battlecopter in the fog. Never mind, they're no longer in fog of war. And it does pull back the wounded battlecopter away from the anti-air, of course, and the battlecopter. And this anti-air is a little bit farther behind, so we're going to have some issues with that battlecopter in the near future. Got mechs heading down the mountain. Mechs already pretty much affected by perfect movement, so not like the Sturm's day-to-day mobility affects them. Lots of good hits there. Anti-air checks it out. Meteor strike now available. Hard to say exactly where it lands. Probably directly hit this recon. It could actually strike over here. This seems like a good spot for that meteor. I think the meteor's going to land right here. Now see where it lands. There's actually quite a bit of stuff down here, but 5,000 to wound units. I think it would strike right here. Battlecop's of course 9,000. Then again, of course, it's also if it's HP, it would likely land down here, of course. If it's value, it will likely strike right here at this moment. He's probably going to try to manipulate where it lands, but killing off some units that don't require the meteor to land. Oh! Value did strike here. It was likely preordained to land there, barring the fact that it was value versus HP. His movements there to direct its landing was not necessary, but still always a good idea. It's fog of war, you have no idea what's going on. But the fact that he saw the meteorite strike over here should give an indication that there was a threat there, but now it's no longer a threat, being all 2 health. So you can be at hyper aggressiveness flank here. But here comes Ex Machina. I have a feeling it's going to strike somewhere around here. There's a lot of tanks. Ooh. Yep, right here. That's a lot more value. There's a lot of units here, but some is quite wounded and not high value. Did strike approximately right here. And so this flank is done for. This flank is done for. So the same flank is done for. His wounded tank's trying to push on in, rotate around. Both sides, this flank's also pretty much done for both sides. Well, both sides have been losing everything. Let's see now. Von Bolt ends the turn with 89,000. Sturm has 107, so Sturm has a 2-day advantage approximately. 22,000 plus 19, so the income disparity is not too bad at the moment. Still a despicable neutral property up there. The Sturm should be able to rectify that soon. Got a mech spam going down south for the winter. After all, he is affected by snow, so he has to go south for the winter. Tank anti-air recon. Gets a good strike there on that tank. However, with our cast vision, we see the artillery in range as well. Tank on tank, battlecopter heading up north. Tank does strike tank there and there. And hits the anti-air as well. Wounded battlecopter does hit the wounded battlecopter. Tank, infantry, battlecopter, infantry. Artillery and auxiliary does get a shot there. Of course, minus 20% firepower with plus 3 stars, the extra defense. It would still take a beating, that tank. Decides to go for a property flip. That's actually a better target. It's better to go for a property flip than a neutral capture, because it denies income. Change the value between two players' income by 2,000. This just improves your income by 1,000. Battlecopter's close to 1% health. It's probably at 1% health right now. Battlecopter, tank, infantry, and mech. I love these games where it's just not a stall fest. It's just constant grinding against each other. I've been loving these games. I feel like I've been getting some good casts in today. Tank on tank. Hits the city there. Does get trapped. Good hits there. Of course, the artillery's in range. Does go infantry, anti-air, tank. Needs some force to stabilize this region. Battlecopter seemed pretty good idea. Invulnerable does not, or Sturm does not have any anti-airs in the region. Takes out the infantry unit there with the artillery. Takes out that battlecopter there. Recon taking a shot at the anti-air. It's of course Sturm recon, so they have horrible firepower. Meteor Strike 1 can be summoned. As the game goes on, Meteor Strike 1 seems a bit more tempting due to his lower power charge. If he feels like he wants to try to win the game, he could go for the power and smash through a small area rather than hard. Because right now, Vulnerable can't really be forward hit by the small meteor, let alone the large meteor. They have pretty sizable income disparity, or field deployment, about a full turn at the moment. A little over a full turn. Sturm still has a 3,000 income as well. Looks like Sturm's trying to fall back up north. There's a good number of tanks here. The level 1 meteor will likely strike in this area. Then again, yeah, both, I think, HP and value will strike right here. And again, there's a lot of value stuff contested there. HP will definitely strike right here. Recon, mech, battlecopter. It's 185,000, 95,000. Sorry, not this game again. This is the first time I'm casting it, unless somebody else casted it. Much better. This Monday's much better. I don't have a bad back. Battlecopter, tank, infantry. Yeah, I think I slipped the disc or pinched a nerve on last Sunday, and I was not really feeling much up for anything. Good hit there on the APC, and APC does go down. Infantry, tank. Does take out the unit there. Sturm's trying to really push forward. Sturm has 145,000, Vulnerable has 109. Both players getting closer to superpower. though as close as 10 stars could be. Lots of good picks there. Tanks coming for a bit of flank. ATO's hitting up down from the south. Sturm level 2 meteor likely strike is. Can your meteor strike target your own tank there as a target? Because if it can, it would be devastating if it landed right here. Oh, he pulls back that 1 health tank there. Could it strike the A-tier? Mech gets an excellent strike there. Artillery interrupts the capture and stops the capture. Interrupts that capture there. Tank. Oh. Oh. Blackbolt drew a lot of value there. I'm glad by the game. I meant this game, not match. I don't have a clue what's going on. I think I played a similar. I'm not sure about Polytopia. This Advance Wars by Web is a web version of an old game series that started on the Game Boy Advance. Wait, does Advance Wars come from the fact that it was on Game Boy Advance? How have I not realized all this time? A lot of games go by. Nintendo games do go by on. What console I've got, like Paper Mario 64, a lot of 64s on the games on the 64. Is Advance Wars called Advance Wars because it's on the Game Boy Advance? Because Game Boy Advance Wars. Have I just now put that together? I'm an idiot. Because the first was Super Famicom Wars, and it was on the Super Famicom. God damn it, why did I just now realize that? Oh. Nope, there's Ex Machina. They strike his tank that was completely surrounded, so I think that's perfectly fine. I actually know it struck right here. Tank does strike the mech there. Pretty good counterattack, hitting multiple targets. Battle cover strikes battle cover. All these wooden units are just slugging each other. What's left of them? He's captured one more capture progress there. Let's see now. Sturm has 119 and Bombbolt has only 69, which is not a nice amount to have at the moment. Good hits there. Tank's down to pretty much 1% health. Of course, all these units are now have a double tenant against them, but it's not like there's much left of these vehicles. APC deployed in the field. Not sure if they use all you. Probably resupply the T-copter. Maybe a good idea to pull the T-copter all the way back. I don't know if it's worth to spend the funds, but either way, Bombbolt has resigned. As Angrade saying, thank you for watching, and on to the next replay.